So it's come to this, we just don't trust the whole fuel system from start to finish in this. I don't trust this tank. I'm going to replace it. I've got one coming in tomorrow. Today I'm going to do the prep work to be able to remove it, and we're going to replace the fuel system right from the tank all the way through the fuel pump on the engine right up to the carb. So everything will be new, and hopefully it's better. I plan to get to this tank eventually, but really the way this thing is running, it's forcing my hand. I'm wondering if the pickup in the tank can't even pull fuel because of rusty gunk in the tank.
Sort of like gasketing and stuff here.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out exactly what our sending unit looks like because they couldn't tell us at either Napa or AutoZone what to expect to put a sending unit back in this tank. So I gotta get this figured out. Shanna's just trying to clean up the top of the sending unit. We're not sure if there'll be a part number visible or something, but it's covered in dusty, sludgy junk, so. Well, the tank is out. There's the good news. That might be our problem. Those aren't flakes of gold.
I wish they were.
The pump pulled out most of the gas.
And the good gas doesn't look brown like that at all.
Off the top, well, it was settled overnight. And this was what was left, and actually we shaking the tank, we got more rust flakes out of here than we got gasoline. So yeah, this is not going to be good for getting sucked up into the fuel filters and starving us. I'm really hoping we have this figured out and this is the nature of the problem we've been having. Ta-da!
All right, we need to order a sending unit.
I've got the fuel pump off from there. It's a fairly cheap part, and I'm not entirely sure the old one was necessarily bad, but it's easy enough to replace, so I'm gonna do that. Here's the new one ready to go back in. And I've just got to get the old seal off the block. So this is day 3 in rural Pennsylvania. We are at a farm property right now, and I've been waiting for the gas tank to come in. So I've just picked that up, and I'm just about to get to work on replacing the gas tank, the sending unit. Yesterday we pulled out the old tank. We took the time to replace the fuel lines, paint, the trailer frame, all that's up and around. It's hard to get to with the gas tank installed. So we took the opportunity to do that while we were waiting for the tank to come in. So at this point, with the tank reinstalled, and that's coming up next, we will have replaced the entirety of the fuel system from one end to the other. And the amount of rust that I found in that tank has just got to be the lion's share of our problem. There's like a little sock filter on the inlet at the bottom of the tank, and that's just got to be sucking so much junk up against it that it can't pull any fuel volume when we need it. So that's our current theory, is that we can finish this tank install and we should be not starved for power every time we come to a hill, and sometimes on the flats. I've got the lock ring pounded in here. I just have to lightly tap it with a screwdriver to spin it into place, and it holds the sending unit locked down. I will say it was kind of hard to figure out what would be compatible with this tank and with this P30 chassis. This was the best they could do. Ideally, it'd be better if I could get the 2 fittings on top of the tank running kind of that way, 180 degrees to where they go. But I'm gonna figure out if I can just do this with enough soft gas line that it won't cause a problem like a kink or a constriction for turning a tight corner. And I guess that's the best we can do right now. They couldn't really tell me what I should pad the tank straps with, so I'm going to take some of this gasket and cut it in strips, and I'll be able to have this pad between the strap that's clamped down tight on the tank and the tank itself. There was some existing material there. It looked papery, like gasket material, frankly, sort of like this stuff. How's it going?
It's going. We've got a tiny little pump and a line into the tank and a line into this bucket that we're filtering, and some leads to a battery, and it's working like a champ to fill Dreamy's tank.
All of our own gas back in?
All of our own filtered, triple filtered gas back in, although it came out clear anyway. With
the tank settling, I think it's bad when you're driving around because it keeps it sloshed up, and then it settles when you stop.
I don't like how that filler neck is so compressed. I think we need, it's like squished flat.
I think I need to put a clamp on it to shape it better.
Yeah, nice warm day.
Yep.
Might help. And I wouldn't mind securing the excess hose into place as well.
Yeah, ideally we would have had a different
I see how it's like, not this one so much, but that one's pretty long.
Yep.
But anyway, I definitely painted this, so I feel pretty good about it. I mean, it wasn't my best work, but for slap and dash on the side, basically the side of the road, I have no complaints.
Taking the opportunity to get stuff up and in and behind and...
Right, while this was dropped, I still need to go under and sand and like paint the rest of the frame under there.
There's something about this that may seem a little funny if you stare at the tank for a minute, realizing that this strap is within these two grooves on the tank, so it can't slide backwards and forwards. However, on the back side, the strap is not in that groove. It actually sits over here, and that's exactly how we found it. The previous tank has exactly the same groove configuration, and the rearward strap was outside the groove. I can't say why it's set up like this, but this is where the strap is mounted to the frame, so we didn't take any initiative to change that.
I think we got really lucky with the strap situation.
Agreed. Having broken that one stretch of threaded rod and still having it long enough to use, very lucky there, because we would have had to just kind of figure out something temporary like tie down straps that really wouldn't have been a good idea.
Yeah, I gave them a heavy coat of paint too, just to protect them. I think that now that they've conformed and there's been some heating and contracting to the shape of the new tank, I think that we should re-tighten everything.
Definitely. Even the action of shaking on the road up here is going to have that settle a little bit. We can probably get away with loosening a little and retightening.
We did in fact make it home to our families respectively, and everyone is really happy that we're home to help out. After we replaced our fuel system and we drove about 75, maybe 100 miles, we were brave enough and confident enough, since the new fuel system seemed to have solved everything, that we essentially got on I-81 and started going north at about 55 miles an hour on the highway, and it was really successful, and I'm really glad that we did it. It wasn't exactly the right timing for us, but when is that, ever a thing? We wanted to give a shout out to Stream Rollin'. She weighed in the comments and the discussions and basically sort of pointed us towards our fuel system possibly being the issue, and she had the experience from her Airstream motorhome. So we just wanted to say thank you, because you kind of pointed us in the right direction. It was clearly clogging, and that was an indicator that we really needed to replace the whole system. So Andrew, that hole, it might be a really good place before we patch it up to come up with a solution. We could actually very easily put it like one of those Espar or Webasto heaters, because that is right where the gas tank is, and the siphon for that heating system may very well run, and then you could exhaust it out down the body of the coach at the back, and we'd already have access there.
That sounds like it might work.
Those are expensive. We should really look into it and see. We went from 8 miles per gallon to 9.5 miles per gallon, and just by replacing the fuel system and this Edelbrock carburetor. Now, he's still running pretty rich, and I'm pretty sure we can do even better. New, this rig only got 10 miles per gallon. So that's pretty great. You can see my fuel filter is really clean and full. He hasn't been driven in 2 days, and I'm really happy with how this all looks. I need to trim down this post because it's too high, it's digging into my kill mount. I'll have to patch this with a new piece, and then this will seat nicely, hopefully again, and we will be able to keep the fumes more readily out of the coach.